Today we are going to go over how to find the distance between 2 points on a coordinate plane using the Pythagorean Theorem. For today's example, I have the points. We're going to use the points -4, 3, and 3, -2. Remember, we want to be using the Pythagorean Theorem, so just going to jot that down here at the bottom. Remember that is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we're going to set this up now. So first thing we need to do is pretty straightforward. We just need to insert the points on the graph. So I'm going to put a point at -4, 3. So 4 to the left, 3 up. Here's our point, -4, 3. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and label that just for reference. Don't necessarily need to label it, but it's kind of nice to have it there. The next point we're going to put on the graph is at 3, -2. So I'm going to go 3 to the right of the origin, 1, 2, 3, and then go down 2. So that is 3, -2. Okay, now I need to make a right triangle. So let me go ahead and switch pens here. Make this guy a little thicker. That's sufficient. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a vertical line that goes from the point to the left. It doesn't really matter which one you make a vertical line though, so I'm just going to make a vertical line going down here. Make it as straight as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, and then I'm going to go to the other point. I'm going to make a horizontal line that goes back. Okay, now those lines intersect here. It might be nice to note that point. We'll take note of that later. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and make a line that actually connects the 2 points. So we're actually going to finish the triangle. So I'm using a sketch pad, so it's a bit of that's actually not bad. So what I've created now is a right triangle. Okay, so now I can use the legs of the right triangle, use that in the Pythagorean theorem to determine the length of the hypotenuse. In this case, the length of the hypotenuse would actually be the distance between these 2 points. So now this is the easy part. I have it all set up. Just for reference, let's go ahead and record this point. This point right here is -4, -2. Okay, so I'm going to count the distance here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the leg on the left side of this triangle is 5. Okay, on the bottom here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the length of the bottom will be 7 units. All right. Okay, now just because we're using the Pythagorean theorem, let's go ahead and label the hypotenuse C. So there's our hypotenuse C right there on top. Now I'm going to set that up over here. Let me make this pen a little bit bigger. Okay, so first leg, 5. So 5 squared. Plus the other leg, in this case it's 7. 7 squared equals C squared. All right, now fairly straightforward at this point. So 5 squared is 25. Plus 7 squared is 49. That will equal C squared. All right, now I know 25 plus 50 would be 75, so take 1 away from that. I have 74 equals C squared. To undo a squared value, I need to use the square root. So I'm going to go ahead and square root both sides of the equation. So square root is 74, square root is C. C squared, so this turns into C. It undoes the squared value. Now I know this is going to be, I know that 8 times 8 is 64. I know 9 times 9 is 81. So I know that the square root of 74 is somewhere between 8 and 9. But I'm just going to go ahead and use a calculator and then round that answer to the nearest tenth. So square root of 74 is 8.6. So the distance between those two things is approximately 8.6 units. Okay, that's all it is. So plot the points and then make a right triangle. Use the legs of the right triangle to set up an equation involving the Pythagorean theorem. Plug the numbers in, solve for C. Okay, let's talk about a couple mistakes kids will make when they're doing these problems. So if you look right here where my cursor's at, let me actually turn off the draw mode. So right here, a lot of kids will start by counting 1. So they'll say 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 5 and 6. Remember, don't count until you've actually moved. If you're running a race, you don't get to say you ran a meter when you're at the start line. You ran a meter after your meter into the race. So make sure you're counting correctly. That's probably the most common mistake I have with this. Even if you know how to use the Pythagorean theorem correctly, if you count the wrong length, you're going to get it wrong. There's other ways to go about it too. You might notice the difference between 3 and -2 is 5, hence the 5 here. And you might also notice the difference between -4 and 3 is 7. I mean, they're 7 units apart. So there's a couple different ways to think about this. All right, I hope you guys have a great week. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask myself or Miss Olson. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well.